Well, Bengaluru has a lot going for it, but we all know it's a bad dream if you have a vehicle and you're on the roads. Having said that, it's a nightmare if you're actually a walker or a pedestrian. At least that's what a recent report on how pedestrian friendly a city is suggests. A large majority of Bengaluru's footpaths are tough to walk on, while some are missing altogether. Street lights and pedestrian crossings are also an issue in the city. Lakshmi Sivdas joins us with a few pedestrians and experts from Janagraha on why it is important to make the city more pedestrian friendly.
Motorists have always had the right of way in Bengaluru, and there is no greater telling sign for this than the deteriorating quality of streets and footpaths in the city. NGO Janagraha has actually conducted a study of 3,500 kilometers of roads in the city just to discover how bad the situation is on ground. Before we get to that, we have the citizen, the resident of Benson Town, Joel. Joel, can you tell me how has the deteriorating quality of streets affected you in your daily life?
As a citizen of Bangalore, we are not able to use the footpath. It is, and most of the pedestrians are using the road. Again, this leads to congestion for the traffic also. Because as policymakers, we see that they are not really giving importance to footpaths. And though in every BBMP budget there is desilting of drains and restoration of footpaths, this has never been the situation.
Chandrama, you were part of the team that worked on this report from Janagraha. Can you tell me what are the findings of the report? What are the major findings?
We try to identify a basic minimum standard that at least each street should meet, and we try to also be able to compare one street against the other, see how it is doing, and see if we can bring out data based on which prioritizations can be decided. 1,390 kilometers of streets across Bangalore still force a pedestrian to walk on the road. So that's just 58% that is actually walkable across the streets of Bangalore. Yeah.
So when you say that they are not walkable, what exactly do you mean?
Okay, so how we define the basic minimum standard for a footpath is two people should be able to walk side by side at all times without having to step off. So the moment they have to step off, we count that as unwalkable.
Do you think having pedestrian friendly roads would mean citizens would use?
Being a garden city, earlier, most short distances we used to walk across. Even see, my school was Clarence School, and from Benson Town School was just about 1.5 kilometers. We used to walk the distance. Today, when my kids went through the same school, it was scary to send them on the same route, though it was a walkable distance. Over the years, they have actually shrunk the footpaths, and most of the footpaths which were also there were not usable, not walkable. Transformers were erected, junction boxes were there were potholes, and then there were drains which were open.
Footpaths again are just one part of the picture. Chandrama, there's more that you've done on street lights and bus shelters as well.
Yes, we've also covered pedestrian crossings, street lightings and bus stops. And what we found was out of 3,256 intersections across the city, and we defined the basic minimum as each intersection having at least one usable pedestrian crossing. We found only 279 of them actually had usable pedestrian crossings, which is a 9%. And so that greatly needs to be improved, pedestrian safety. And speaking of pedestrian safety, it was also street lighting. We found that the basic minimum benchmark for safety as defined by the DDA or the UTPEC guidelines was 10 lux, which is the illuminance across the streets of Bangalore. And the city does scores 8 lux.
What does that mean?
Which means 51% of streets across Bangalore are actually poorly lit and not safe to walk for pedestrians.
If the BBMP does take measures to rectify this based on your data, do you think that there would be more citizens who would be willing to walk to work or willing to just say no to the car?
Definitely, I'm very sure of that. And Bangalore has always been a great place to walk, and if it could go back to what it was, like what Joel was saying, I'm sure that many of us would love to walk or cycle or use different mediums of transport to come to work.
It's for the BBMP to take the initiative forward and act. From what data I have, BBMP themselves do not have a data of how many kilometers of footpath is there. So and then a footpath itself is a nexus between the contractor and BBMP. Every year, the amount of desilting, the amount of the crores of rupees which is spent on the footpaths is a golden goose for both for the BBMP and for the contractor. So unless there is a major change, we are not going to see.
That was a citizen, and these are the experts from Janagraha talking to us about how a lack of pedestrian-friendly roads is making the case for motorists to rule in Bengaluru. With camera person Kumar, Lakshmi Shivdas for NDTV.